There we go. Boom. April 14th through the 20th of 2021. We have so much going on in the astrology, I don't even know where to begin with everybody on this quest that we are all in to try and understand where things are going in life. I will do a promo for Rising Through the Darkness Purgatory, which is tomorrow. I will be doing deep astrology tonight on the Purgatory stage that Craig and Ann have been working on. Especially Craig has built quite an extraordinary stage for me to do this amazing presentation. It's been quite a journey to go back. Well, it was November 2017. That's 3 years, almost 3.5 years since I went and truly sat, well, not sat, but stood on a stage and gave a presentation like this, astrology-wise. So I've done plenty of presentations, but there's just something about this style that if I look at all the presentations I've done in my life, there's something about when you get the projector and you get the stage with the projector screen on there where I can really go at it and I have slides to go through and I'm channeling at the same time, and you don't get me lost on a fucking iPad Pro and where I'm drawing all day. I'm like a little kid, ADHD kid on that iPad. I can do great work on there, but there's something where you get me too freehand with a pen and I'll be lost forever. If you're on Instagram, just know I'm on YouTube right now live if you want to watch full me in the studio hanging out in a better view. I just put it on Instagram for people that like this. So here we are, the end of Aries. I've been tripping on the charts in a good way. I mean, I really am kind of mind boggled on how many positive aspects are happening this week. And at the same time, as an astrologer, I have to look forward and I have to look at, what's coming up after this. And I'm going to talk about what's, I believe, is some of the important things for people to use this amazing energy for this week. But a reminder that we're not going to see anything even close to this positive the rest of the year. And I know that might sound rough. It might sound to some people not high vibe or negative. But I think it's a good thing, and it's a beacon of hope that number one, the number one reminder of the astrology this week is that God and the divine and the most highest of good exists. That courage with an understanding and an excitement of applying your courage towards the future is the way through so much of the craziness of this world right now. Meaning that it's important to look at your future. It's important to align yourself. If you were a train, I mean, it'd be great. The tracks are great at this point. They're nicer than ever. It's not a bunch of kids putting rocks on the tracks anymore, or in some cases boulders, like we saw through 2020. But you want to make sure that up ahead, that when this fork is turning in the tracks, that you don't take those tracks, you just can't turn around. And especially if you were on the old Pacific Railroad back in the day, in Union Pacific, there was only a certain amount of track, or you'd get to some parts of the track and they weren't done finishing working on it yet. And I'm super excited about seeing this Mars and Jupiter trine while the Sun and Mars are all having a party. And Venus entering into Taurus, into its, dignity, into its home sign, is definitely a great gift and a great relief. It's almost like the feeling for goodness of life can be seen But because we're in a very weird Saturn-Uranus square with Uranus and Taurus and Saturn in Aquarius, and they were flipped in square in 2000 while Jupiter and Saturn were in Taurus, and now we have Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius. It's so weird to see the flip. But in order for you to get that good life, in order for you to feel better in life, the square to Uranus or the square to any kind of Aquarian energy, or to even have Uranus in Taurus itself, and as the sun is leaving Aries and Mercury, and they're meeting up in great aspects to this Mars and Jupiter, they're going to square Pluto. I'll talk about that in a second. But we're moving into Taurus. That's really what this is about. With all of Aries' needs ever wanted, momentum, speed, all the planets direct, strong Mars with the North Node. I mean, a Jupiter trine. That this is your moment in your life. And now, for some, it might not seem like it. Like, I'm just going through life and I can't make a change now. Or I still need more in my life in order for something to be at what I feel will make me feel better. That is your own beliefs. Because of the South Node and Sag. Can't be in this belief game anymore right now. Can't be in the storytelling to yourself. Can't be in the storytelling in the world either. There's a really good story going on that everybody's believing really good, if you know what I mean. I know you all know. Some people believe it so much. I'm sure you all know I just moved. It's very weird how people look at me because I choose to breathe. It just blows my mind that people like either A, they don't know how to act, or B, they feel more comfortable because they're like, oh, thank God somebody else is showing me the way to just be who I am. There's been a couple downloads that I've been getting, and I want to give credit where credit's due, but Lisa Marie, who is on, she goes by Shakti Ma, she's on High Vibe. We had a meeting today, and we were talking about to each other just about the collective conscious energy, and she's going to come to the studio in May, and we're going to do a big talk about this because I haven't got the full download yet, and I don't think she has, but I just want people to start thinking in their souls here for a second about this collective consciousness. And if we look at the split of how people are acting in the world today, and then if you at the same time think about the experimentation going on with the human element of all that going on right now, how is that affecting the collective consciousness? Because today I was in my truck, I had a bunch of errands to do for Purgatory, and yeah, I just had a bunch of errands to go do for fucking Purgatory. It's a good name for a show, but it also sounds kind of weird. Like, yeah, I'm just on my way back to Purgatory. Fucking gotta go do some errands, you know what I mean? Fucking, but
everybody's doing errands in Purgatory.
Everybody is really doing errands in Purgatory. That is what's crazy. But I was in my truck, and I it's not that I had anxiety, but I can tap into the frequency of the collective really well, and I started to get what I said in my promo about Purgatory, which is like this weird artificial energy that's coming in. And I actually didn't use the word artificial. I said foreign or unknown or hidden, or it just feels like it's not from the divine, which is artificial or counterfeit. And I had brought up in Rising Through the Darkness that counterfeiting was going to be a big thing that comes up because we're coming into the Pluto degrees of counterfeiting based upon when the Revolutionary War happened. That's how the British tried to take out the rebels, was, guess what? Counterfeiting their money, over imprinting their money with fake money. I mean, we're seeing a little bit of that now, but I don't think we've seen it at the levels at which we're going to see coming up in the next couple of years. But there's a artificial energy, including the experimentation going on is artificial. It's not divine, right? It's like, oh, this artificial thing will save you, yet do you find if it's the best week in the astrology and everything is moving forward, Mars and Jupiter are offering us insight to expand on for our future and curiosities, I just find it really interesting to see a certain couple companies making experimentation be halted by certain organizations because there's problems. And if this is the best week, are they really that good? Some people are looking at this in the media and especially on social media like this is some tragedy, where I'm looking at it as like, thank God. Divine intervention. Not intervention from some quacks that are like, yeah, a bunch of people are not doing well now, so let's finally stop it. Where's the number for that? Who even has a mind in their mind that thinks one person is enough? But we live in a very weird time. And I think with the square to Pluto that we're going to see big this week, fears come up. And so one of the fears I had to bridge us back to the collective is we're all one. We all are in the same conscious field. But we've never been in a field before where the bodies of where souls are presiding in are altering the divine's body. No, your titties don't count. Your Botox don't count. The dudes getting bigger dicks don't count. Michael Jackson doesn't count, I don't think, with changing his color of his skin. But when you start altering the core of God's coding and have computers artificial, I don't even know if I could say that word, intelligence, anymore. that word is triggered now by all these crazy things. But think of this time, especially with this Pluto square in Capricorn that's still there. It's like, no matter what you think is trying to move forward, Pluto and Capricorn is saying, no, if the structure is not changed and also the integrity is not there, I will make sure I get to the bottom of this as much as I can. But Pluto has a lot of struggle with this Sun in Aries because Sun is exalted in Aries and Mercury here and the Sun are both got Mars and Jupiter that are both in air signs, Jupiter in Aquarius, Mars in Gemini, helping power that Sun. It's almost like people are not paying attention to the power they have right now and giving their power away. So like this is a time where it's like, where am I realizing how much power I have and where do I put that power? Because I have the power right now to understand the sovereign power with a Venus in its dignity, which I'm stoked about Venus and Taurus. Venus is at home. Venus has not been home since it was in Libra. So, that was a long time ago. And it was not a fun time during Venus and Libra because it was when all the planets were about to turn back on and all that stuff, and Capricorn was going on. So we have not seen a very positive Venus since the Venus in Pisces that was about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, when it was at really prime position, and it was in stronger position than Saturn was in central dignity wise. But point wise, at least, so there were some days there I covered that. All I'm trying to say is that we are at a time where it feels like you might be on the edge of a cliff of the unknown, yet that's the moment where all is starting to be known in direction and identity. And the courage that you have to take to identify right now in your life is because once we move into Taurus, it's the end of Mars and Gemini. So we're going to see Mars coming to the end of Gemini. We're going to see Jupiter here and Mars follow each other in a trine for these next couple of days at the beginning of this week. That's really amazing. Like, this is like, whoa, a lot of momentum. And all the planets still direct. We have Uranus now at 10 degrees. That's where it went retrograde last year in 2020. So it's coming out of its shadow here soon. We have Chiron here at 10 degrees. We got Chiron coming out of its shadow. So we got some very outer energies that are coming out of their shadow. We got Neptune going to 22 degrees of Pisces this week. We've never seen that in our lives. The last time was 1857. So we're definitely heading into new territory that we all have never felt before. But that doesn't mean that we just try and plow through. So they're giving 4 million of that shot every day. You think they can keep up with the records of that? I've had to have convos with people like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm really busy. I have all this shit going on right now. Everything's flying fucking in my life. Moving, running a business, got fucking things to do. Got a presentation I'm doing, got all this stuff, got a business to run, got employees to be dealing with things, got meetings to do, got emails, got phone calls, trying to build a personal life. Who's keeping track of like how the hell everybody's doing after every day 4 million, 4 million, 4 million, 4? How can you keep track of that? Nobody really does care as much because, let's be honest, it's when finally, you got to remember that Pluto is super realistic, especially in Capricorn. Somebody reached out to people at the ABCs, DF, the CDBDC. This is Sesame Street astrology here, folks, if you didn't know. And there was somebody that went, excuse me. So, like, there's a bunch of fucking women not doing really good. Oh, whatever. It's supposed to happen like that. No, like, they're all of this age group. They're young. And one of them passed away. And that was a couple weeks ago, that data. Like, what? Like, we're doing 4 million a day. And even though this one doesn't do that many, the numbers are going to start popping up. And that's not going to be a good story if it's in the bigger. I laugh because a year ago in March 2020, it was like a big deal. They made such a big deal about the first person who passed away from CV. Like, it was like the end of the world already. Like, Seattle is the first person to pass away. Back then, they were calling it the China virus. Wuhan virus. If you don't remember. And so you're not even allowed to say what they were calling it. Like, that's what's crazy. But they made such a big deal about that. And then today, all I see is, oh, that's no big deal. I mean, it's just 1 in a million. You're just looked at now by the world as 1 in a million, if you happen to fall into that. Or more importantly, everybody's just sheep. But it's like, oh, whatever. Just, you're just like, we got to do what we got to do. And there's going to be repercussions on this side, but everybody else will be fine. Well, how do you know that? You don't know that. So instead of playing experiment to others, play experiments with your own confidence. Play experiments with your own voice. This is Mars in Gemini. We're not going to see it for 2 more years after it leaves here in about a week and a half. And Mars, if we were at the beginning of this, I was talking about looking into the future. Well, as we look into the future, Mars in Cancer sucks. Royal ass. Worst place for Mars. And with this sun squaring Pluto right now, and Pluto going to quincunx Mars, while the sun and Mars are sextile, while Jupiter's trining Mars, everything's on Mars. And having Mars be in such a position that blows my mind, having the North Node here in the same sign. The dispositor of Mars, of course, is Aries, and we've got the Sun exalted in Aries before it comes into Taurus on the 19th, if you're in Americas. 20th if you're in Australia. This is more strong support of Mars than I have seen in a long time. Plus, if you take the end of the last 6 months of 2020, especially July till the beginning of 2021, we had Mars in Aries. Even in the retrograde, it didn't feel like a retrograde. Mars was in its home sign for a long time. The universe has been, if I'm going to just be honest as an astrologer right here, you know what planet and you know what energy the universe has been supporting the most besides Capricorn from 2020 or Aquarius with Jupiter and Saturn is Aries and Mars. And I would say that it's been more about Mars in the positive since the North Node's with it this year, and we're seeing Jupiter in a good trine with it, while the Sun exalted, that's the dispositor of it, is sextiling it, while Pluto's even quincunxing it, both the rulers of Mars home, right? So Aries and Scorpio that are both mixing energetically with this Mars while it's in a neutral sign of Gemini, but the North Node Rahu is there, while it's got trines to Jupiter, while Mercury is making a positive aspect, so it turns Mercury into a benefic. And then we're seeing the Kazini of Mercury from the end of Aries into the beginning of Taurus. It's literally like, this is divinity. Like, this is more than just a divine orchestra. This is like God is speaking so clear right now about your power, your individuality, your sovereign self, your beautiful self that you don't have to go alter crazy about. That you have to realize the amazing things that you have at your disposal to use to create and to change this world and to be part of the future is not by how I think, I don't know if it was last week the live, I said that the Instagram model's dead, that the only people that are Instagram models now are people that get Vax cards and they show them in their pictures. That, you know, there is no ticket to heaven physically or digitally. There's no ticket to the divine that you have to buy, or that you have to drive through, or that you have to go get swabbed up your nose with. Because that's where it's at the moment. And I remember at the beginning of 2020, during this whole story, the term herd immunity was like a bad word. Like, that's not possible. And I don't know if you remember, that is what they were telling us. Like, stop talking about that. Don't go there. Now, all the people who choosing not to get the fucking experiment are causing it to be to where there's going to be no herd immunity. I'm like, this is insane. This is insane. And anybody that's trying to tell me that I'm crazy, go remember that. And don't try and fucking lie to me and be a little fucking bitch and try and be like, ow, no. No, last year that was a fucking X word. You were not allowed to say that. That was not, I remember it was like, God, I can't say that. Now, I bet you all these little fucking things on all these networks and stuff, when they hear it, they're like, push the video. Oh my God, herd immunity, push the video. But I remember when I was talking about herd immunity, man, we were getting like, you know, you're not allowed to say that shit. And then the media was saying like, don't talk about it. Herd immunity, that doesn't exist. I was like, that's what they're trying to talk about in Switzerland, in Sweden, and all. I'm like, blown away. So the reason why I'm bringing up all this weird stuff, because the Pluto stuff is squaring the sun and Mercury. So it's like, if you can't see through the lies in the story that are trying to change and manipulate the system, Pluto, Capricorn, change, manipulate the system, then I don't really know what to tell you at this point. Because we're at the most greatest week of all time. And I can see how there's a lot of people that are seeing this from the other side of things, because I will always, as a hermetic astrologer, look things on the other side, like, well, the shot's working and things are opening back up, and oh my gosh, it's all done, and we'll get back to my life, and I'll get a ticket back on a plane, and I can just go sit in Bali and do yoga and drink my green juice and be a vegan again. I'm so excited. And hopefully meet a Dutch Indonesian guy that fucking is so sick and so amazing that does astrology, but he lives in Orange County. But anyway, you know what I mean? Well, the problem with that story is, well, obviously, the news came out today that story's not looking too hot at the moment. And gosh, I don't know how much more fear they want to keep using, especially with this Pluto. It's exposing, gosh, there's so much good thing. You know, I have a nephew. He's 10 months old. My mom sent me a video last night of him talking, laughing. The most joyous soul I've ever seen in my life. And when you get all this young energy of Mercury in Aries, the Sun in Aries, you get all this Gemini. He's a Gemini, by the way. You know, Mars in Gemini, North Node in Gemini. It's youthful energy. But gosh, there is so much. Anybody that is playing this story right now is so not liking fun, comedy, laughing. They take it so serious. They take every little thing so crazy down the road that they don't know how to like live life and have fun and laugh. They don't find anything comedic at all. They don't find anything positive at all, even when they get their fucking experiment all over and fucking peer pressure, because Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius is peer pressure to the max, by the way. And I think I said it last week. Has anything ever gone good with peer pressure in your life? I remember when I got peer pressure to do a line of meth, that didn't go down too hot for fucking 2 years of my life. Including my first line of yayo. I remember that. It was like, you know, a bunch of my other buddies were doing it, and it was like, oh, yeah, do it. Oh, okay. So Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius to me is, it's peer pressure, or it's realizing that you are a unique person and you need to go find the tribes in the collective that are willing to look at all spectrums of things for the best possible future. And with the trine to Mars and with all this energy with North Node and Gemini, be willing to look at all different sides, both sides, and be willing to hear all voices. And that's what we're not seeing anymore. Anything right now, I cannot believe I follow Anomaly. He's awesome. I followed him on Facebook for like 5 years. I didn't even realize the dude lives in Orange County, and I'm here in Orange County, okay? He went up to the Orange County City Council meeting yesterday and blasted them for trying to mandate a shot port. Trying to think of, yeah, no, you guys, you know, like port wine, you know, a shot of that, like, oh my God, oh, I'm having too much fun. But fucking, you know, okay, so he goes up there and he used the great analogy of almonds. Like, you're gonna just force feed almonds? How many people have tree and allergy, you know, like peanut allergies? And so I dated a girl who had a peanut allergy, like couldn't eat. I love Cliff Bars. And I love peanut butter Cliff Bars. I had to make sure before we kissed or anything that I didn't eat that Cliff Bar for a good 8 hours. Okay? So he used that as a good analogy. It's like, so you're just going to force people in order to go live their life that they have to eat this almond, and we've never before seen if people are allergic to almonds, he's using it as an analogy. I thought it was a great one. Anomaly is a great guy. He's such a pure soul. Never met the guy, never talked to him, but I just have always followed him, and I always thought he was one of the best presenters of just truth in such a humble and beautiful way. I just wish that guy the best. I hope people support him. They took down his video of him calling out the press secretary when she said, "Oh yeah, every shot is FDA approved. Just go get it." No, it's not. Sorry, it's experiment authorized through a emergency act, and it says right under it that it is not approved. But the reason why I'm saying this is because his voice is censored. Anybody that is trying to have a voice, or any doctor right now, or anybody that's trying to have a voice right now in this moment, is not getting its necessary due process at all. We are just seeing rooms full of people spread apart with a fucking mask on, not able to see their expression, and just next. And not say anything back, not put anything out there. And this is the time in the astrology where everybody has to learn the greatest lesson of all, that the collective, if we're going to be talking about racial inequality, if we're going to be talking about income inequality, if we're going to be talking about any of these issues, we also need to be talking about the most important one, which is the fact of the freedom for everybody to be heard, no matter their race, their financial position, their place in life, just to be heard, that they are allowed to have a voice. And especially, wouldn't we want to hear from the voices of some of the greatest experts in the world about everything going on right now, instead of only the voices that are the ones that the system is pushing? That if we're going to have racial inequality talks, and especially financial ones, I can't believe that they push that all day and they won't push on that the most. And I'm not trying to say that racial inequality is not important, or financial inequality, because those things have its very major issues that to be talked about. But the biggest inequality right now is that there is 4 million in America shots going into people's drink every day. It's a lot of people, all races. And they are only getting their information from $1.5 billion and celebrities that are pushing it and getting paid for it by the U.S. government. Paid for it by the U.S. government. Did you guys watch that commercial of Lady Gaga and, gosh, who else did they have? I think they had Robert De Niro, who literally screamed, "Fuck Trump, fuck Trump, fuck Trump." Basically, everybody said fuck Trump in a commercial, saying like, if you see this on the window of your store, then this place is deemed cleared because it's been, I don't know, sanitized and ventilated in a certain way. Like, geez, like, really? I already went off on Morgan Freeman last week. Like, sorry, you're not God. You tried to play it the movie. And when you're telling the camera, well, everybody tells me that they trust me, so I guess you all trust me, so you should just go get it. Like, while I'm sitting at home on Zoom, which is a Chinese company that literally has made billions through this thing. Nobody likes to talk about that one either. People think Zoom's an American company. No, look it up. Look who's the majority shareholder of Zoom. With all your data, I just put it on my story today. Did you know on Zoom that you could add a mustache and you could add fucking... I added eyebrows in my meeting today, like huge eyebrows, and like fucking... I could add lipstick if I wanted to, but I'm not going to add lipstick, of course. But I played with it. We were laughing. I had like purple lipstick and hot pink lipstick on. Like, their facial recognition is so good, sending all that data over. But he's getting paid to do a movie for a story. The Never-Ending Story is a great movie. Great movie. The thing that we're in right now, are we really going to make this the Never-Ending Story? that the nothingness is going to take over the life of life. The only thing that's saved in the never-ending story was that he had to believe the story was true. But the story that, I guess it was, if I remember right, that, who was it, the princess or whatever her name was? I don't like the kid from the Neverending Story. I don't.
I don't remember the name.
And I was about to say Rufio, but it's not Rufio, because that's the Hook. But it's Atreyu. That it's Atreyu. I like Rufio and I like Atreyu. I would have been Rufio, although I'm kind of Peter Panish too, but not that kind of Peter Pan. I would have been a lot cooler. I guess I would have been Hook. But I guess I'm more Hook. But fucking had to believe in Atreyu to go and get, and this nothingness was taken over. And I think at the end it was like he had to believe that he was the one, but he was reading the story. But you got to flip this around. It's like they're trying to make the never-ending story feel like by you getting this shot, you are believing in the story, which you're believing in their story that they've created completely, and you're going to get rid of the nothingness when really you're contributing to the nothingness and making it triple faster. Because if you remember the devil dog in the never-ending story, he says that the only way the dark wins is by, deceiving people and manipulating people. And Pluto squaring this sun in Aries, which happens tomorrow, which is why I'm doing Purgatory on Thursday, April 15th, with all these great alignments. But the square to Pluto, because I was born with Sun square Pluto, so I do really well on Sun square Pluto days, because I'm not afraid to look at and see, like, who's manipulating this situation, and where am I denying my own power myself and learning to receive, and where am I saying, no, I'm not going to receive that to my sun in Leo. Sorry. I have Pluto in Libra, so it's like, okay, is this fair? Is this going to bring balance to my life? Should I receive this or not? Should I bring all this power out? Is it going to cause disruption or is it going to rebalance the universe? Like, Pluto and Capricorn to Aries is, are you that naive and bought into the manipulation with your identity, your ego? A lot of people wear identities as stories, especially during this time. So trauma is a good one with Pluto, right? Like, you always hear the story of the person that's like, God, I got in an accident and it was because the car company made the lights on the dash too bright. Right? And so they wear that as their badge of identity. Like, I'm the person who was in that accident. Hi. It's like you walk into a room and you never met him before. Hi, you're at the diner. How are you? What do you have? Do you have a coffee? Want me to get you one? Yes, I'm the person who was in an accident because the dash was so bright. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about that. Hold on, let me get my Sprite here. When was that? 1989. Oh, yeah. I think, what car was that? It was the Datsun. Oh, they don't make those anymore, right? Exactly. It's like, okay. All right. Hope that's going. You still doing okay with that? You still in court with that? One day I'll make sure I get them. It's like, so people wear trauma and identity. Okay, so people that really don't know how to identify with who they are as a sovereign being and get over trauma and move. And Aquarius is saying move forward. But a lot of people are taking this story of the King Corona virus and making this their crown. Especially, I don't even want to talk about it, but the asteroid L, who has got a full name, he's a fallen angel, has been right on top of the star Regulus during this time. the fall. I have a Dante picture in my house, actually, of the. It's a picture of the fallen angels, the ones that betrayed God, the angels that betrayed God, and then falling into hell. And I don't wish anything on anybody. So when I say this line, it's just coming from a interesting standpoint. But there's a lot of people out there that are very star-like, let's say, so that's more celebrities, that are pushing a story for money and betraying their own people instead of speaking truth. I think it's really sad when I'm a verified person on all my accounts. I have a blue check mark, and I don't define myself by that check mark. I use that check mark to go write comments on places where people with blue check marks are commenting, to let other people know that there's somebody in that fake identity world of, oh my gosh, this person's special because they have a blue check mark. But to be able to put something in there in those comment sections of those posts that you won't see any of the celebrities put it because it's against the story that keeps their job alive, because that means they haven't found their sovereign self. Their agents telling them to do it, their PRs telling them to do it, the studios telling them to do it, their music producers telling them to do it. Everybody's telling him to do it. Look at the DMX thing. He wanted to go tour and stuff. Wonder who pushed him into that situation. But there's something to say with that L asteroid on top of Regulus. I don't want to get, I have somebody very close to me who told me not to even say its name. And I actually agree with that completely, or to even really look too deep into it. But I'm somebody who at least will offer the truth that there is a dark force that is trying to convert people into being the false light and going down that hole by not speaking truth. And a lot of them have blue check marks. And a lot of them are people that you see all around that are too afraid to find their sovereign identity. They wear this story like a badge of honor. And this is the question of this week. What story do you want to keep doing, or do you not want to even wear a story? Because you are a sovereign being, that the story is being created by the curiosity and by the youthfulness and by the life force that you are embedding in manifestation of your sovereign being, that you are creating from within and from listening to what the divine is telling you and listening to where the signs are and being able to point and say, that doesn't feel right. That looks off. That doesn't look like it's divine to me. Because when you do that, you're in your power. But you're not in your power when you're peer pressured. You're not in your power when you look up at the boob tube and you go, you know what? Yeah. I mean, the guy who told you not to wear a fucking mask is now telling you that 1 out of 1 million people that fucking don't do well from the letter J and another letter J is no big deal. It's like, oh, let's not even talk, like, it's just 1 out of whatever. And then to go on and say, well, we're waiting. The reason why they're pausing it is because we're looking at more of the data to see who else might have got this. It's like, oh yeah, because you have so many going in a day, you can't even count. And you want to start it off easy, like you start off everything off easy, and then drop people into the truth, and then make them feel even way worse about it, right? That I know there's a lot of astrology for this week. I'm about to go do it on Deep Astrology, but I'm just going to use this week's astrology update to be like, yo, you've got the power to see through the story or not. Don't make this the never-ending story, please. Because they keep saying that this is not going to end. Well, guess what? You're contributing to it. I walk everywhere I go, elevators, outside, and I follow what is right. I want to be able to feel like I am myself, and you have to do your own research. You are not required, it's like crazy that people are following what they're told to do. It's that easy. It's that easy. That people are just following whatever they're told to do. And I'm telling you that this test is the greatest wish that you ever wanted. But gosh, even like the lion who was lacking courage had to have the courage. He had to find courage within himself on the yellow brick road. Tin Man needed to find a heart. Scarecrow had to find a way not to be scared. I mean, we're all on this yellow brick road, but don't be afraid to get on the yellow brick road. When they try and pave you on a road that says all roads lead to here, and you don't see anybody else around you that's questioning and got a little bit of fear in them, but is willing to know what their issue is and know that I'm going to face it and I'm going to go through and I'm going to follow what feels good to me of where my identity is that I know that I need to find more of in my life to fulfill me, opposed to having euphoric, basically orgasms over getting a fucking experiment that is the most, if I were to get euphoric over an experiment, especially a drug, I think I'd pick a better drug. You know what I'm talking about? Like a much better one. One that actually gave me some real fucking good times. This thing they're fucking putting out stories telling you it's normal to feel like hell. It's normal. I don't know one thing that the universe ever gave us. I get it. There's no pain, no gain. But that's when you're actually doing something from natural life, like working out. Like actually doing something that you're not doing anything except accepting, which is Pluto, a manipulation into you, and then feeling like shit. You are choosing to let it come into you and make you feel like crap. And it doesn't even do anything in which you would think that the term of what it is should be doing. It doesn't even do that. You still have to do all the same shit. So, looking at the future, this is it for real. The best of the weeks of the year. And then Mars comes into Cancer, comes soon. Pluto comes retrograde on the 27th. And the planets are in Taurus, like the Sun and Venus and Mercury. And it all slows down. And you either are going to feel like you are in your most valuable sovereign self, and that will only come from that you made your own individual decisions. And I'm not here to be, if you've made the choice to go down your road, whatever you did, hey, that's up to you. I just ask, did you do it because of pressure? Did you do it because you were told to do it and you're just trying to be obedient? Or did you do it because you really feel like it is that euphoric and that magical? And if you feel that way, then all more power to you. And I don't judge anybody who goes down the road of even doing this. And I actually, personally, from my own opinion, not astrologically, but I mean, kind of astrologically of how I see the astrology, is like, I feel sorry. I feel bad. So I'm not going to be mean or, you know what I mean? Like, or judge somebody or be weird about it. Hey, I already told you all last week that the whole idea that I have to do it for my job, well, I already gave you guys my story of how when I was in the worst place in the world and that you can't get out of, and I went to jail in order to get out and found the best life that I ever wanted, was because I followed my sovereign self. And I think that this is that final test, because the rest of this year, well, the herd will be a lot easier to corral than those that aren't. And I just ask that the herd out there realizes that there's a bunch of other people there's a bunch of babes, there's a bunch of pigs out there that want to be sheepdogs right now, that are nice, that are friendly, and that are trying to give you some real data and some real information and some real cosmic true shit and some real divinity here. And when they go out trying to attack and kill all the babes out there, and you're in that herd, I hope you're like the sheep that start talking like in Babe, and that start, what's that scene where they start going, they use the secret fucking sheep thing, bah, 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 you, or whatever. I think it's bah, you, or whatever. I hope you all start singing that tune when you see all of us pigs out there that were Babe, that were trying to hook you all up and not being mean, like the sheepdog that was mean because he was pissed because I think he was having troubles with his dog wife, whatever the fuck it was in the movie. That's just the truth. I think he was frustrated. He was over being it. And I think he had some issues with his girlfriend or his wife or whatever. That was the other dog, if you remember, the sheepdog. And I just hope you all start saying, "Bah, ram you," or whatever it is, and start learning to speak truth when you are going to see, especially when Mercury comes. I had to say this, and I know this sounds so fucking far away, but it's not. When Mercury comes into Gemini and it retrogrades, shit's going to hit the fan. Bad. Okay? Especially with all this data and fucking hundreds of millions of people and organizing what happened and what their results are and what the experiment's doing. And oh my gosh, squaring Neptune, Uranus, going to square Saturn, not Saturn square Uranus. Uranus is moving forward now and Saturn stopping and going retrograde. And then fucking bang, Mercury will retrograde, square Neptune. And it's going to be crazy with Uranus that squares Saturn and says, hey, from a Taurus point of view, this is an unstable world and you're fucking around with some weird shit in the physical and it's artificial. And it's bad experiment time. And I'm just going to say they're going to come after the pigs and blame it on the pigs that were babes. They're going to say that Babe caused all the sheep to fucking fuck around and fuck up. And that's where all the sheep out there are going to have to start to say, "Bah, ram you," or whatever it is. Nobody can confirm it from where I'm trying to read in chat. I'm digging deep in my old VHS tape days. "Bah, ram you." I think that's what it was.
I don't know. We could probably Google it and find
"Bah, ram you."
I'm not seeing anyone.
Somebody said the Nuremberg Code. I mean, it's like, you know. But you know, they're gonna be blaming it on the pigs. They're gonna be blaming it on the babes. And I'm just like, you know, and hey, I know a lot of other light workers who speak the same truth right now, and we're all not like trying to look at this as like we told you so. We're just hoping that when it all fucking goes down and we were like trying to give you all the truth. Because right now, anything, if it was really good for you, they wouldn't censor everybody. Trying to talk about the opposite point of view. That's not how life works. That's not fairness. That's not equality. That's not justice. That's not higher judgment of the divine that wants to look at both sides. That's not hermetic. That's not godly. That's not, I mean, it's complete, utter discourse. And anything right now in life that won't allow both sides to talk at all and put it out there, and you're trying to think it's good, no, that's coming from the dark. Sorry to say. And I'm just hoping that y'all sing "Bah Ram You."
Yep. People are confirming.
They're
Bah
confirming.
Ram you.
"Bah Ram You." I hope you all start singing that motherfucking shit and getting in order when they're going to try and blame it on all the pigs. When it's going to be a false story. Because Neptune at 22 degrees, we are entering into a real split. 2 and 2 is 4. But 2 and 2 is going to be a split at Neptune. And Neptune and Pisces at these degrees is when the country split in 1857, a year before. And that's what made Lincoln run for senator, who he lost to. And then he had to run against the senator he lost to become president in 1860 under Jupiter Saturn and won. And a civil war broke out. That the split in the collective is going to be more extreme than ever come next week. And the only way for us to come back together, whether you're modified genetically or not, doesn't matter. We're all still human. And we're all going to have to find a way to enter this collective because it feels very weird, because people who are not genetically modifying themselves are not putting bad energy against people doing it. We're actually like concerned. And people who are genetically modifying themselves are looking at people who are not genetically modifying themselves and looking at us as if we're pigs and dirty and trashy. And when you actually say that out loud, does that make sense? Who's the one that's defying natural order here? Who's the one, and I'm not the most naturistic person, as I smoke on my electric jewel and drink on my Sprite. But I'm not genetically modifying my fucking natural body code or tricking it, because that's what it's doing, is tricking it. Who's the trickster, by the way? Been said for all time. The dark is the trickster. So anything that's trying to trick your body is a trick from the not divine. The divine will never trick your body. You drink a nice smoothie and you're not tricking your body. That shit's the good shit. You know what I mean? So, go look at the crypto world right now. There's going to be a lot of struggle about that, but I think the struggle is going to be that people are going to feel like there were two movements going on. There was the shot in the arm movement and there was the crypto movement. There was one of putting their sovereignty into decentralizing and putting power to the people literally. And there was another that was told to do it. If you were sitting with Steve Jobs and you had a chance to invest with Steve Jobs in Apple, which, by the way, Apple's not as big as crypto anymore. It just happened. Crypto's bigger than Apple now. Biggest company in the world is no longer biggest. And you were like, you know what? I have a shot to go get instead. I'll come back to this later. Like, were you paying attention to anything? Or were you just, you think that experiment's the technological thing that's going on right now? That's helping the people? It's the one that you actually see positive returns in people and nobody dying, but people thriving. Aquarius is not technology or advancement that fucking causes harm. It causes thriving. That's innovation. It causes excitement. It causes individuality. And it creates a system that's for the people, by the people. And this is not something out there that is being told to you that is for the people. And it was not created by the people. And there's too much documentation that it's everything about questioning which groups of people will do it and which groups won't. Which groups of people of their religion will do it and which ones won't. How is that Aquarius? So that's about it. I'm about to go drop all the bombs on deep astrology because I'm not going to. There's too much astrology for me to show. And that's why I do deep astrology and high vibe. Tomorrow I'm doing purgatory where I'm about to blow people's minds literally for fucking 3-4 hours. And even I got a history professor here tonight, every day with me, who was blown away by just in the last day the shit that we figured out together. I didn't even, there was some stuff where I was just channeling it from spirit, like, oh, okay. Because I asked Anne to do some research for me, like, because she's a history professor. And so she gave me the info, and I went, oh, I'm not going to say it because I'm saving it for tomorrow. It's so beautiful. It blows my mind. It blew Craig's mind. If it blew Craig's mind, not to say that Craig's mind gets blown a lot, but like, he's a hard one to get. Scorpios are hard to blow their minds, right? They'll be like, yeah, whatever. Craig was in here like, damn, that's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy. Damn. I just hope that at the end of the day, this message, whether you get Purgatory and watch it tomorrow live with us and be part of the live chat and watch it on your Roku or your Apple TV or iPhone or your Android or your phone or your Chromecast it, or if you're on High Vibe every day and you're able to watch Deep Astrology every week, or all the dailies, or all the weeklies, intuitives, or all the weekly sun signs, or all the content, or full disclosure, or all that stuff, that you know that this is such a time where the term being awake is truly more than just a meditation, or more than just even doing a little astrology or some tarot, but it is so about being courageous in your light and in your truth, and identifying with your individuality, and not being afraid to be that and to embody that, and to not be a follower, but to check everything and see if that feels resonant with you on a soul level, and check in with the divine and see if the divine says it, and really pay attention to what's going on. Because there's an article today that says the woke revolution in corporate world is never going away. I was just like, wow, what a fatalistic and permanent term to put out there. It just blows my mind that the people that are pushing this agenda of what we're seeing are also pushing a race war, and they're also pushing so many wars on everything to divide and conquer, and literally say you're sheep on TV. Yeah, it's just 1 in a million that get it, even though that's not true yet. He doesn't have that data. Just the same way that he told you, no, nobody's gonna have to wear a mask. Or just how he says, no, nobody's gonna have to worry. As long as we get everybody as fast as we can, these other variants won't get you. Really? What if those are creating the variants? We already see it with antibiotics. I mean, shit. Give too many people antibiotics, and guess what? The antibiotics don't work. There's too much research right now coming out saying, like, don't touch the way that whatever it is coming, and it won't fucking keep trying to fight and go crazy because you're trying to obliterate it by obliterating people's fucking codes. And I'll just say this last thing, because I was going to say it on Deep Astrology, but or I actually was not going to ever say it really. But your body is being tricked by this thing. It goes through the natural defense system, and it comes behind it, and then it goes, I'm not a threat. So it goes in your, I'm not a threat. And then it comes back around on its back, and it re-messages it, and it says, you're going to only look for this now. Everything has a soul. Every organ, every part of life has a beautiful soul. This sprite has a beautiful soul in it too. It was made with love to give people happiness. This thing tricks your body for the first time, and then it fucks with it and re-messages it. And what do you think your immune system's soul feels like, self-worth wise, when it realizes, I just got tricked? I've been working in every human body and never being tricked for thousands and thousands of years. And I've never had anything slip through and then come back behind my back and then change me. I guess I'm not that great of an immune system. It's like a kid on the baseball team, and you try to play a trick on him. You put him at shortstop, and you tell him that he only covers second base occasionally, but don't cover second base. The second baseman's got it. So the ball comes up to the second baseman, and he leaps out to get it, and the guy's going to go trying to hit a double, and the shortstop just sits there and doesn't go to the fucking base. And when the second baseman throws the ball at the shortstop, he's nowhere near the base, and the guy gets a double, and everybody on the other team starts screaming, and you hear in the background the dad being like, "What are you doing, son? You're just atrocious." A kid's not going to really enjoy his life. He's probably not going to be that great at baseball for a long time, and he's going to be crying, and he's not going to be feeling good, and then the team is going to be mad at him. That's what I'm trying to talk about. That's what I mean about the worthlessness that the immune system will feel through being tricked. That nobody's trying to look at anything from a spiritual point of view anymore. Everybody's trying to, on every call I talk to or every person I meet, it's from a lab, it's from a this, it's that, it's this. I know a buddy, I know a girlfriend, I know a dude, I know that person, I know this, I know that, I know. Well, why don't you take your life pre-2020, and did you see the astrology? And did you see that it would be used to manipulate people into a story? Like, let's be real and let's be honest and stop looking at in the middle of the fucking story. Remove yourself and look before the story, and actually maybe look at astrologers that were calling this out for years and saying, wake the fuck up, something's coming in from the dark that's going to take you over and try and fucking narrate and take over the world and be powerful and control. And you all thought it was Trump? Okay. All right. I don't hear Joe Biden talking about how drug companies are getting away with murder, about how much money that they fucking do. And oh, by the way, he got rid of Trump's trying to get rid of, or he did get rid of Trump's pharmaceutical stuff, where he was like, I'm not going to be around for a while. Like, these people probably are going to want to kill me because I'm looking getting rid of their little fucking Ponzi scheme. And by the way, the head Ponzi schemer of all time just died. Yeah, that guy from the dark that really, didn't give a fuck about you and tried to tell you to go live your life and do what you got to do, and never forced you to do anything. All he asked, though, was that you would be patriotic for freedom. That's it. That's all he asked of you. And follow the laws of life that we all agree to, and that's it. But, I guess that guy is the most evil guy on the planet. So, we'll end it with that. And I wish you all the best on this great journey of the story that you write remember, this is the end of this powerful Mars in Gemini and the end of any powerful Mars for a while, especially the rest of this year. Because you're not going to see Mars trine Jupiter until it comes into Libra, and sorry to say, Mars in Libra is a detriment. And it will be during a fuck show of retrogrades, turning direct and going through hell, and Saturn Uranus squares. So, and it's with the North Node. So, this is it. Go for what you want. And definitely with Pluto square, don't do anything that you don't want. And if you're afraid of taking big risks, look at what the term risk really is. Are you trying to take a risk because it's from a manipulation? Or are you taking a risk of going into what you really want and what feels sovereign and divine from the divine? I love you all. We'll see you for Rising Through the Darkness, Purgatory, tomorrow, April 15th at 3 p.m. Pacific. You can go to highvibe.tv, click on the paid video section under the watch section, and then download the app and watch it through there after you purchase it through the website. Or go to highvibe.tv/pages/purgatory. It'll be on the links down below these videos. I love you all. I hope you all find the power within yourself. That's all I can hope for. But I can't. The opposite of hope is you got to do it yourself. You got to figure it out yourself. You got to be able to make choices in your own self, and you got to be willing to go for courage in yourself, and you got to own that and not be a follower, but be somebody who leads the way to the truth. And the only way to be led to the truth right now is in all the places where everybody's not going. And the majority. Because where the majority is going right now is a herd. And there's no immunity there from sovereignty. Because sovereignty is immunity from all things, because it is in connection to the divine, which is your ultimate immunity from the dark. I love you all. Adios. I'm still on. Ballram you. Everybody on YouTube still getting it. Look at my shoe. Ballram you. Look at my shoe. For you.